if we were smart and we were wise, for something so life-changing, we would involve our parents in the decision-making process. We would say, look, can you vet this person?
My mum's got no taste. My mum's got. But there's one time I went to the house. My mum.
The girls in the kitten
My
hills.
mum would tell me to come to the house for something.
Yeah.
She's done it twice. There'll be some girl sitting in the front room.
Of course.
And obviously I assume my mum's a pastor. I assume maybe she's doing counselling or something.
Yeah.
So I'll come in now. I'll be like, oh, hi mum, how you doing? I'll see the girl that looks like me. And I'm like, oh, how you doing? You're right. So then what will happen?
A handsome babe.
Literally, like me with long hair. So I'll be sitting there now. And then my mum will then go disappear. So I'll be in the front room. All of a sudden I'm like, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I'm just like, it just comes some kind of setup. Like, so I'll be talking to her now. The mum will come in the kitchen. She said, Gabriel, what do you think about? I'm like, don't do this, mum. like my mum's taste. And marriage should go further than looks. It should. But I need the engine to be warm when I see you. I don't have to jumpstart the engine when I see you. It needs to be.
Man was to be there.
I wanted to flush straight away.
Wake up! Plug in the thing, you know.
And that's why I wonder how detrimental pornography is.
It is.
To men and to women. And even the toys that women use. 100%. I wonder how detrimental, because I remember one time I went to one girl's house. I'll never forget this day.
Yeah.
It was just about to do for me for you. Just about to do for me for you.
Wow.
So then she told me to go into the drawer to go
me.
and pick up the raincoat. So I went to the drawer to collect the raincoat. And as I opened the drawer, I saw the biggest.
Wow.
I said, if you've been using this, what am I?
She had the chopper.
For one day in my life, I felt inadequate. I looked at the instrument. I said, I looked at the jackhammer.
Did they have pull string on it?
When I say this instrument she had in her drawer, she had a collective of toys in her drawer. Of course.
Man said the dude was running off generator.
And I said to myself, how detrimental is pornography on toys to our sex life? As someone who's married, would you say that?
You can't be watching porn.
I don't think there's anything wrong with porn? With toys in marriage. Porn, yes.
Brother, you can't even be wanking.
What's wrong with pornography?
The thing that's wrong with pornography, and I'm not saying this to judge anyone because I am in the same boat as you. I've made it very clear in my stand-up and in videos. I've struggled with porn, right? But what I've learned about porn is it lies to you in terms of it tells you this is where you're going to find your ultimate pleasure, and it gives it to you in the short term and takes in the long term. So in the short term, you get the biggest rush of dopamine you've ever had in your life. You see something that's so mad, you're like, this is exactly what I want out of life. But in the long term, your ability to connect with somebody and truly enjoy it in real life, your ability to be satisfied with a real woman, or your ability to deal with the general sort of real implications of having sex with somebody are all affected. And so essentially the short-term pleasure never really matches up to how much you pay in the long term. Porn is like payday loans. It's like you get that £500 in your account today, but the amount you're going to pay over the period while it's telling you that no, everything's cool is going to be a madness.
And I like the fact you mentioned it. I think pornography for me growing up gave me unrealistic expectations of sex.
100%.
So from what I watched, there was something called Blue something. There was one Blue, how many was there?
Blue movies.
There was something, I can't remember what it was called, but I went to one of my white mates' house called Martin.
Yeah.
So he had it on these tape decks.
Yeah.
He plugged it in. And this is the first time I actually proper watched a porno.
Man was doing group assignment on the porno.
Obviously I'm taking notes, doing iOS press release. I'm taking notes. And all I ever saw in porn was men hammering women. Of course. And them just going, like making the most noise ever. So when I first had sex, I thought that was what sex was about. For a long time I thought, even as some men, we think that hammering a woman,
of course.
Now don't get me wrong, some women like to be sexed to sleep and they want that hammering, they want to feel it in their stomach and have cramps. But the realistic thing is that, like when you're just doing that, all you're doing is poking her, and sometimes we want our narcissistic ego makes us want to just, even the words we use for sex now, beat, smash, hit. Just look at the words we use for something which is meant to be.
I knocked her down.
Yeah, look at the words we use. None of these words are actually. They're not nice words. Man, you beat that. Yeah, man, still, man, smash.
Right, have you ever heard her say I smashed her back doors in?
It's very toxic and derogatory the way we've looked at sex, and I don't know how. I know some men. I'm mentioning any names. No, I won't mention any names. I know some men who they literally need porn. Like literally, there might be a girl in the house. They literally put on porn to get themselves aroused to be able to deal with this woman. And in the same way, when I did some research on sex toys, Can you imagine when sex was actually invented? Why it came out, sex toys? If you research it, when the World War happened, that's when obviously a lot of the men were going out to go and fight and do these battles.
Yeah.
So that was when the big surge of sex toys came up, because women wanted to pleasure themselves because their men was away.
Yeah.
Now in 2021, I think it's good that women have their toys, because some women will say to me, it keeps my numbers down. So when they're feeling horny, okay, they just go into the drawer, they get the and then they're fine. They knock one out. But I say, how detrimental are sex toys and pornography to us as human beings?
Bro, here's how it is, yeah. And I think every single one of these things we're dealing with starts with a very genuine, nothing wrong with it, absolutely fantastic desire. And then the way in which we satisfy those desires is where the problem is, right? I think, if a woman is using a toy to keep her numbers down, you have to ask yourself also, apart from the risk of pregnancy, the reputational risk, and blah, blah, blah. Why do you want to keep your numbers down? One of the reasons why, and goes back to why I even value marriage, is because you are supposed to present yourself as a virgin, so that when you do start having sex within marriage, you are not bringing a whole bunch of baggage and other experiences. And the more of that you bring, the less likely you are going to be satisfied with what you have here. So if you're constantly coming with toys, porn, sexual partners, the problem is that, and this has been shown statistically, this isn't just me with my Christian hat on now, statistically, promiscuous women's marriages last at less time than those who have kept themselves, because their ability to be satisfied.
I just out of curiosity, can you, where did this stat come from? Just out of curiosity, where does this?
No. It was a report I read on the internet.
So basically, women who have had less sexual partners, last longer in marriage.
Yes, their marriages last longer, and they report higher sexual satisfaction.
I need a
now,
Harvard
obviously,
referencing.
women will go, well, how do you know what you like? Because blah blah blah. But the problem here is that you've gone to go and figure out what you like with a whole bunch of people that you're not going to commit to. So even if you figured out what you like here,
so basically,
the problem is that now
women don't know what good sex is, so they're just staying there.
No. But I'm saying they're figuring it out together.
I'm trying before I buy. There's no way I'm going to marry a woman. Yeah, I'm sorry, because I can't talk for every situation.
A man of good taste.
I know women who have done the whole.
That's exactly what I was going to say. What if you get married, Gabriel? What if
and the brother can't get up?
Yeah, exactly. What if you get married?
Wait.
Bro, of course, everyone loves these mad stories.
What if you get married? He can't get up, one, or two, the sex with her is dead.
But here's what I'm saying to you. Here's what
Man,
I'm saying
sex
to you.
counselling.
First of all, you guys, whenever you're talking about waiting, you always talk about the worst case scenario. The truth is that for a lot of people, it works out great because they get a chance to learn together. But second of all, here's the thing, right? There are people who get together and get married because the sex is fantastic and they've tried before they buy and so on. 2 years in, it's no longer great. Now the whole thing is thrown into disarray because what they bought based on is not what they're receiving now. Everything falls apart in their heads. You go and have kids and it changes things. You know what I'm saying? The anatomy changes, the hormones levels or the hormone levels change. You can't buy based on the fact that I've tried before I buy it, because that's going to make you even more frustrated in the future when you change or when things change between you. Now what I'm saying is, if you learn from the beginning the skills of, one, we are going to figure this out together. Two, I'm going to serve your needs, you're going to serve mine. And we're not going to come at this just like, as long as you're serving me, I'm happy and I'm here. And third of all, I'm going to love you beyond sex as well. I'm going to make sure that I have something that I care about more than sex, so that if, for example, you are unable to have sex, we can still function as a couple. Then those things are actually going to be way more beneficial than a girl who knows how to, hang off the chandelier in the first year, but year 3, she's telling you that she's got sciatica now.
All right. You're full, you know. You are a fool. You're an empty fool. You are a fool. You are a fool. But you mentioned pornography and said that you maybe had, I wouldn't call it addiction, but you had you liked it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I would say, what was the urge, or what was it that got you into it? Could it have been the fact that you wasn't having it, so therefore that was your? I'm assuming that when I'm gonna say when men watch porn, I'm assuming they're probably going to masturbate while watching it. Yeah. So I guess it's a way of getting aroused to be able to do that. And then once again, people don't understand how the brain works with neural pathways, where this now becomes your channel 100%. Of how you now arouse yourself and get turned on. Don't get me wrong, there are probably other ways of coming out of it. Like, Chiz, have you ever been into porn where at one point you watched it once a week?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would you say was the main motive for that?
To bust a nut.
As in literally
to bust a nut.
But is that because now
No,
is
but
that because there wasn't a woman around for you to do that with? Because I've never, like, when I tell people I've never masturbated, they don't believe me. I've never ever. People don't believe me.
Yeah, he always says that.
I've never.
Yeah,
I've never. People don't believe me.
Because the reason why, because he's toxic. He's been using girls. He's been using girls to masturbate.
Bro, Brother using girls to masturbate.
It's true.
You're using girls as
You've been using girls to masturbate.
What is this?
No. Yes.
Listen. Listen.
Don't explain yourself.
You haven't let me land.
Gabriel's always got an excuse for something.
No, but I haven't let me land.
He's always got an excuse.
Land. I only masturbate in group discussions. Like I've never ever.
This guy.
And you say I'm talking Shakespeare. What's that?
But on the road, I've never.
Only masturbate in group discussions.
And that's why, for instance, I've never watched.
Politician.
I've never like been stuck on porn because first of all, the storylines are crap. There's always one plumber coming to drain the pipes.
Of course.
Some woman.
I said Nollywood lines.
And I'm gonna assume that because you're obviously trying to masturbate while watching porn, I guess that's where I think the detrimental part kicks in, especially with toys of women. When you're getting off with this big rabbit or this thing, it gets to a point, in my opinion, psychologically, where this is what gets you off.
Yes.
And it no longer happens from
disappointment after you busted up.
I don't know. And
no, but neuroplasticity is a real thing, right? Your brain is very malleable, and if you train it, it will go towards this thing. Dopamine, the dopamine rush you get from watching porn, masturbating, whatever it is, right? It's supposed to be a reward hormone. It's supposed to reward you for doing something that and says, go and do this again. So you go and like take on a hard challenge, you win, your body releases dopamine, so you say next time you meet a hard challenge, do it again. What we've done is we've lowered the bar at which you can get dopamine lower and lower. So we've added, drugs, porn, whatever it is, like even gaming to a certain extent. And we give people, we've given ourselves so much dopamine that when it's now time, our dopamine receptors are so overstimulated that we're not happy with just like a beautiful day or like a nice breeze or a love, or even just seeing your wife. You're not happy with her anymore. Now you're like, why don't you look like this? Because I've taken in so much of this. Now I'm no longer sensitive to this. And I'm saying to you that whilst people go, well, fine, like I'm going for the best. Like I want to live the truth is it's making a lot of us miserable because essentially what we're finding out is we're all not good enough. We're all not, no matter how much you think you're laying down, she thinks she's great in bed, she's got the wet or whatever it is. The truth is we all need grace more than we need to be amazing. We all need somebody who's going to work with us, who's going to commit to us and say, do you know what? On this day, you didn't really lay it down. You weren't really putting in, the Wesley Pipes.
Hold me. She's going to tell me this.
The Wesley Pipes.
This guy thinks every day he's
she might not say that out loud, but she's gonna be like, do you know what? I'm way more committed to you than I am to the Wesley Pipes. Obviously, we don't always
perform.
To the Wesley Pipes.
My mom always says to me, "You're only as great as your last."
How do you know about Wesley Pipes?
My mom says to me, "You're only as great as your last performance." And it's in reality in life.
Yeah.
You can do 99 great things for somebody.
Yeah.
That one day you misperformed is the thing that will stick into their boro head.
Of course.
And that's the biggest problem that I find with this whole situation we're talking about is that.
Yeah. But that's the point when they go, it's no longer serving me, so I'm going to go elsewhere.
That's why you have to always finish on a high.
You find that women always complain about a lack of satisfaction when it comes to sex and with our interaction with them. Yeah. And I've seen situations where women have told me that a man shouldn't be offended if they pick up a toy afterwards. So let's say, for instance, you had intercourse with a woman, and all of a sudden,
I'm a virgin, bro.
And all of a sudden you hear bzzz, bzzz. You're like, you wake up and you hear bzzz. You're like, well, what's going on? She's just there, bzzz, away.
That's happened to you, innit?
No, never. But would you take offense to that?
Do your thing.
I don't know. See, once again,
the male ego. It's not about offense. Yeah. But here's the thing:
the male ego.
Everything you do in sex, I genuinely believe, is because you're yearning for intimacy with somebody. So if a married couple use a toy together, then yes, there's no problem with that because
but if it's by herself, there's a problem.
But if she goes and does it by herself, there is an implied element which is like, I need to go and finish off the job you didn't finish off, and so therefore that's why that.
But is anything wrong with that? We don't all. Women lie in section, though. They were making noise. Yeah. And there's nothing happening. Yeah.
Because, do you know what it is?
Just to satisfy the male ego.
Most of them have never experienced what it is to have a man who say, I'm committed, I'm going to work through this with you.
Everything never had. Hold on, man. Move, man.
Look, because you don't want to do it. Because you just want to be. That's the problem.